Good evening. I'd like to call the village board meeting for the village of Cary for Tuesday, June 1st, 2021 to order with roll call. Let the record reflect that we do have a physical quorum here. Trustees Weinhammer and Cavelli will be participating via Zoom. Courtney, roll call, please.
Weinhammer? Here. Cavelli? Here. Collier?
Here.
Walrus?
Here.
McEvoy?
Here.
Thank you. Would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We'll now move to the open forum where the public is invited to make an issue-oriented comment on any matter of public concern not otherwise on the agenda. I have one individual, Bob Bailey, would like to address the village board. Would you like to come up to the podium, please?
Good evening. I've owned houses in Cary since like 1976. I bought a new one a couple years ago.
Could I pause you for 1 second? Chief, could you check the microphone, please?
I agree. I should
Stay away from this plastic.
I wish this all could come down. One day.
I could.
I don't hear it.
have nothing, let's go.
You know what we could do? We can punt. Why don't I have you?
What if we get one of the speakers, have one of someone else's
Yeah.
microphone?
As long as the board can hear him.
There we go. What was that?
I'm fine. Target, I don't think.
That's all right. As long as the board can hear him,
Okay.
we'll be fine.
All right.
All right, please be.
No.
Yeah, whatever.
Just step to the side. There we go. I apologize, sir.
I understand. I bought this new house in early 2019 and signed up with Comcast. And I understand you guys got a franchise agreement with them. Every month, I get a bill from Comcast that says my franchise authority is the Village of Trout Valley. If I gotta pay $3, $4, $5 a month franchise fee, I understand. But I don't wanna go into Trout Valley. I either don't wanna pay it or go to you guys. To me, it should.
Is it referencing the Harper address? Is that the?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct, that address. Now, I talked to Jacob here a year ago about it. I've talked to Comcast in person at their Crystal Lake office. I've talked to them on the phone, all over the world, wherever they are. They answer the phone. They're very difficult to deal with, in my opinion. What's the answer? Why do my bills every single month say my franchise authority is the Village of Trout Valley when the address is in the Village Limit Security? I mean, can anybody tell me?
The only thing I could think of, I'm not making any excuses, and we could check into it again, is that we share the same zip code. They might do zip codes. I don't know. But that's something that we could look into again for you.
Well, supposedly they were supposed to correct it, or they said they were gonna correct it, and obviously that hasn't happened, so.
Right.
Is there-
I've heard that from you, I
Yeah.
heard from Crystal Lake, I heard it on the phone, I've heard it from everybody.
Yeah,
It doesn't happen.
yeah. Is there a way that I can get a copy of your bill and we'll reach out to them again? Because I agree with you, I mean,
Let's
if
go online.
we wanna make
But
sure
am I
that we
the
get the
only one? I
taxes.
mean, what if there's
Sure,
50 other houses out there?
Yeah.
Where's the money going? It's not a lot of money, but where's it going? Hopefully it's going to you guys, where it's supposed to go.
yeah. Am I able to get a copy of your bill?
Okay.
And I can reach out to them again? Because supposedly it was supposed to be corrected
Correct.
by Comcast.
I know, I heard that several times over the last year. It's not correct. I should, so, okay, how about tomorrow I drop off
Yeah.
bills upstairs to you,
Sure.
the new bills?
Yeah.
And we hear back and get it corrected.
Yeah.
And hopefully it's not
I appreciate you
more
letting,
houses than just mine.
I appreciate you letting me know about it, because I was under the impression that it was corrected
Yeah.
there, so.
How are you?
We'll get to the bottom of it, but thank you for bringing it to our attention.
Yeah, exactly. And exactly what does your franchise agreement say? I mean, is there penalties, is there recourse, is there whatever? I'm sure it's a quick thing.
Yeah.
I want to check into it.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you, Mr. Bailey. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
You're welcome.
Wow.
Scott Euler is in the house.
Mr. Euler's in the house. Thank you. Is there anybody else would like to address the village board? We'll go ahead and close the open forum at 6:06. A couple things I wanted to, first of all, we had an outstanding day yesterday at the Memorial Day Parade, very well attended. I'd say it was probably one of the biggest attendance that we've had in years. I think people are just chomping at the bit to get out. A lot of young families with little kids blown away by that. It was really kind of cool to see that. Chief Philin, thank you very much for your help in putting that together. AMVETS did a wonderful job. Charlie did a great job at his first year running it. So it was a great event. So thank you very much. Second, I wanted to kind of give you a little heads up about LGDF. If you have not heard about it, just over the weekend, the governor and the state legislator had decided they weren't going to be touching our LGDF this year. Although it's not fully restored to 10%, they're not going to ask for anything different. I think I'd maybe back up a little bit. Last week, I was asked to participate in a conference call with the governor. And it was very well received. He was very understanding. There was 9 mayors that participated in it, all representing various counties and COGs. I was doing it through Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus and McCog. And we were all granted 90 seconds to state our cases for the governor to hear. And we all had talking points that were prepared for us through the staff members and that we had talked about before. So it went very smoothly. And to be honest with you, the governor did make a comment to us that he sees in the future of restoring the LGDF to the full 10%. So he is going to work with us. He wants to be collaborative, which was impressive to hear him say that, and he did say that. So that was exciting for us too. So we could breathe a sigh of relief at this time. So although we're only getting 0.6% of it, we're doing okay, better than reducing it again. So that was an interesting find. So that's good. Anything for trustee reports? I'm not aware of anything.
Just a quick thing.
Yes.
Cruise night starts tomorrow.
Oh, would you like to officially say
I'm
that?
just saying the chamber kicks off cruise night tomorrow night, 6 o'clock downtown Cary, Main Street. Be there or be square.
Thinking, what time does that start? 6?
6 p.m.
6 o'clock. Thank you. Moving to the consent agenda, I am taking off number 10. There was an error that was put on there. It was I take responsibility for not being aware of this. So I'm going to entertain a motion to approve consent agenda items number 1 through 9 and 11 through 12 as shown on the village's website and is displayed on the video monitor during the village board meeting.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Weinhammer? Yes. McAlpine?
Yes.
Walrath?
Yes.
Collier?
Yes.
Cavelli? Yes.
Thank you. With regards to the compensation, I'll go ahead and read the motion and I can state my case at that time. I will entertain a motion to approve an ordinance approving an amendment to section 2.68.050 of the municipal code for compensation of members of the Board of Zoning, Planning, and Appeals.
So moved.
Second.
There was an error in here when we had discussed this. We had discussed, since we're only doing one meeting a month, that it was fair to get in line with the rest of the communities that are around with compensation. And I wanted to go one better when it came to the chairman. So I had proposed that we had go to $75 per meeting for the chairman and $50 a member per meeting. The reason for is the chairman spends a great deal of time throughout the weeks coordinating with our staff regarding things, as well as coordinating things with his members. And I think it's important that we kind of, it's not a lot of money for the amount of time that they put in this, and I think that it's worth it. We're setting the case for professionalizing the CPA, looking for best practices. The chairman is already reaching out to other municipalities to hear what they're doing with regards to ZPA and their best practices, so that we can all have a common approach to these issues. So I'd like to make the amendment to the chairman being $75 a meeting and the members being 50. Are there any comments or questions regarding that?
Mayor, if I could just add one item too, just for the public's benefit. The compensation for the Board of Zoning Planning and Appeals hasn't been looked at since 1998. I just think that's one item to note, that this isn't something that we've looked at for a while, and it was more than time to look and see what our neighbors are doing and make sure that we're being fair with the compensation for our zoning board members.
I agree.
Agreed.
Any other comments? Trustees Weinhammer, Cavelli? Okay,
No, I agree, it should be increased.
thank you. Roll call, please, Courtney?
Walden,
Yes.
McAlpine,
Yes.
Cavalli? Yes. Weinhammer? Yes. Collier?
Yes.
Thank you. Moving to our administrator's report, Jake?
Mayor, Village Board, I did have two updates for the public this evening. Trustee McAlpine stole one of mine.
Sorry.
Here regarding the chamber, I think we had a nice infographic that we put up related to cruise night. So I guess we can say it again. So cruise night is happening again here starting tomorrow. And then the one other item I just wanted to note was our friends at the Rotary, I think starting this Sunday, is that correct? This Sunday is the farmer's market. So we'll be starting this Sunday, 9 a.m. at the Metro parking lot. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Moving to department head reports, Chief Finland? Nothing? Director Morimoto?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Just one quick update for the board and the public. As you know, our 2021 roadway servicing program is underway. The holiday has passed. The contractor will be back in action in town starting tomorrow, doing paving for the final surface course in some of our neighborhood streets. And then we'll circle back and finish the striping in the downtown area for next week. That's all I have.
Thank you very much. Moving on to future agenda items and discussion by the village board. I believe Trustee Cavelli has some things you'd like to bring up.
Yes, thank you. I would just like to bring up a discussion about adding a second water meter for irrigation systems. I had a resident contact me about it and would like the opportunity to talk to the board about it during the committee of the whole.
Any comments about that?
I'm fine with that. If that wants to be discussed, I'm fine with it.
Well, my comment is that I certainly 100% want every resident at any time to feel comfortable to come before the board. I just think the protocol should be that that resident comes before the board and asks us and brings up some information to us, and then we put on the committee of the whole. I'm just looking at semantics of how I think we should have things flow. I don't want to see, sometimes public officials can get looped into something and it can be challenging for them long-term. I just think that the best advice we can give to our residents is that this board is welcoming to you to come in and speak to us. So I, of course, have no problem speaking about it. I just think that the protocol should be they come before us first, and then we decide to put it on the agenda.
I also spoke to the resident that Kim spoke to, and she would definitely be willing to come before the board and ask. So
Okay.
we can have her probably come next meeting
Yeah.
Okay.
after. I'm sorry,
That's fine.
Kim, did she tell you the same thing?
Yeah, so then, just so I understand this clearly, so she would come to ask for the item to be added and then be added, so she'd come a second time?
Well, I think how it would work, as it's done in the past, a resident or business comes and presents their concern or their case to the village board, and at that particular time, the village board decides at the time if that's something that they want to discuss. It might be an opportunity for staff to be able to respond if we know exactly what they're looking for. So we would have what's happened in the past and what best practices can be, and just hear exactly what her concerns are and what exactly she's looking for.
I would recommend, if I can, in this situation, if the board is interested in a presentation, we'd be happy to put that together. I think from the resident standpoint, I don't know if it is the right move to require them to come to several meetings. If it's something that the board wants to talk about, we'll get an agenda item ready and we'll talk about it. We'll be prepared to talk about it. Yeah, we just need direction. If a majority of the board want to talk about it, then we'll put it on the agenda.
I think that if a resident reaches out to a board member to ask a question, and then like Trustee Cavelli or Trustee Collier is asking for additional information for it, I don't see or understand why we can't if majority of the board wants to. I just don't think that the resident needs to come and ask in person. I don't understand why.
That's what you just said, Jake, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So what's the direction the board wants to go with this?
I'm open for discussion.
I am too, and I don't want to really set the precedent that we have to have a resident come to separate meetings. She's already reached out once to village staff about it. So to have a presentation, just so that the village can hear about it, and then I think it's fair for the board to then decide, if they want to go forward with, more discussion or have it on the board, action item or anything else. But I would just ask the board to please consider this resident and what she's requesting, and to have it added as an agenda item for committee level discussion.
So just so I understand, we already had the resident contact, obviously multiple trustees as well as staff, and there has been some interaction with staff and the resident, and the question that was posed from the resident to the staff was answered. Is that accurate? Okay, so if the resident's already gone to the staff and asked the question and asked to have this discussion, and the staff has given an answer, then what it seems to me, in my opinion, is this looks like it's more of an appeal process. They didn't like the answer they were given, therefore they want a chance to plead their case directly to the trustees. Would we say that was accurate? Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, the person wants a chance to have a discussion with the board.
Like I said, we're happy to have the discussion. I just need to know if there's a majority that want to have the discussion, because if there isn't, then we won't have it.
Well, this is an unusual situation that we have here. I typically prefer, there's a lot of times when a resident comes to me or comes to somebody else and you can explain the situation through staff or individual meetings with them. They pretty much have an understanding. We've had many conversations in this past week about what this is about in the past, going back as far when I was a trustee in 2009, 2010. We had brought this up and it was explained to me why the village does not do this. I've had several people come up to me and ask me these things and over the years, and you explain why we do what we do, and they typically understand. I don't think this is something that I would support. I think that is the residents' right to come in and talk with us. I would never not allow somebody to come in and state their case. I think that this is kind of taken on a life of its own. You're hearing different sides of the stories about what exactly people are looking for. I don't want to ever think that we're not giving a resident or a business the time that they need to address the village board. That being said, I'm at a loss for what the direction is. I know that staff had polled the board before, and there was no interest in bringing this up. And now that the resident, who doesn't happen to be here right now, where we can explain to them that this is something that the village board doesn't want to take up. So I'm at a loss. I'm looking for the direction from the board, what they want to do. I think that's only fair. I've made my concerns. I've been communicating with Trustee Cavelli throughout the day, expressing my concerns and the history that we've had with this and why the Village of Cary doesn't permit something like this. So, if the board would like to sit down and talk, or have the resident come in and discuss it, let us, because I have not talked to her, I don't know who this person is. There's 2 board members that are neighbors of this person, so they have the advantage of knowing who it is and having direct conversation. So I understand that she's just got some concerns, and I kind of agree with trustee Walrath. She didn't like what she said, so she's really kind of making an appeal.
Can she just come in and have a meeting with Jake and maybe Eric one more time and see if that clears it up and go from
Well,
there? Or is
I
it not?
proposed to trustee Cavelli, if I was given the contact information of this individual, I would reach out and have them come in and sit down and go over things and explain why we do what we do. Because, right now, before Jake pulled the board with regards to this is something that people want to talk about, and they really didn't have the interest in talking about it.
Right.
So I want to be fair to this individual. I would like to sit down and talk with her, with staff, and including Jake and Eric Morimoto, and kind of go over it.
I think trustee Collier, just to answer your question, we're beyond that. I mean, they had asked, inquired with staff if we could run it up the flagpole, and we ran it up the flagpole, and here we are. But that's why we have future agenda items and discussion by the village board on the
Right, and
agenda.
I did communicate
So-
what you told me and what we had talked about to her.
And-
And
and-
she did not seem to understand it, maybe, if I understand that correctly,
But,
so.
but again, if the board wants to talk about this at a committee of the whole item, we'd be more than happy to package this up and talk about it.
Well, from my perspective, I am satisfied with the answer that staff gave her that was provided in the earlier staff reports. I think that covered the ground that I would stand on from the village's standpoint. And the way I would view the next step for a trustee or for a resident is exactly what we're saying. You can come in and voice your concerns to the board of trustees at that time. And if you can make an argument that convinces us to put it on an agenda item, have a full discussion on it, that would be great. But I'm fully satisfied with the answer that the staff has provided, and would certainly encourage staff and any other trustees or the mayor who want to continue to speak with the resident to express the opinion. That's all perfectly acceptable, but I'm satisfied with the answer that was given by staff.
Trustee McAuliffe?
I agree as well with trustee Walworth.
Yeah, I agree. She should come in and address the board directly. If not, meet with Eric and Jake individually.
Yeah, I agree as well. I will, Dale, or trustee Collier, could you give me this individual's contact information? I will reach out and set up a
Yeah, if she
meeting with her.
doesn't, I don't think she would oppose to it. I'll ask her first, but yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay, so I have 4 people that aren't willing to do a presentation at this time. I will reach out to this resident and sit down and talk with her and just explain things from our perspective one more time.
So can I just clarify something?
Sure.
So in order for this item to become a discussion item, potentially, she needs to come in at a board meeting to request that of the board, correct? So I want to make sure I'm conveying that message to her properly.
Yeah, I think that she would like to appeal to the board, that she would like to be heard with regards to that, but I'd like to meet with her as well and, figure out where she is and what exactly she's looking for, and explain to her where it is from our perspective, the majority of the board's perspective, so she feels like she's being heard, and we can take it from there.
Okay.
Thank you. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Galvine,
Yes.
Walrath,
Yes.
Monument, yes. Collier,
Yes.
Cavelli,
Yes.
We will reboot up in just a minute.
Does it matter when I get to one of the meetings on time?